Hello, my name is Caleb Kilpatrick, and today I'm going to be talking about a recent research study I found regarding the primacy order effect in complex decision making by Ray and colleagues. I'll walk you through what the study was about, how it was conducted, what the findings were, what some limitations include, and how the study applies to everyday life. Starting off with the topic summary, the study explored how the order of information affects our decision, specifically in situations where we're faced with a lot of information. The researchers wanted to know if people are given a list of pros and cons about different choices, are they more influenced by what they hear first? They tested what's called the primacy effect, which is the idea that early information can carry more weight in shaping our impressions, especially when the situation is complex. To simulate this sort of complex decision-making scenario, the experimenters created a car buying situation for participants to process the information. To test their hypothesis, the researchers ran two experiments. In one, participants were shown 48 pieces of information about four potential vehicles. Each car had 12 traits, some being positive and some being negative. The key was two of the cars had the exact same traits, just in different orders. For one of them, the positive traits were listed first, followed by the negative traits, and for the other, the negative traits came first with the positive traits mixed in. The other two cars had different traits and were included in the experiment as filler options. After viewing all of the information, the participants were asked to choose which car they prefer. They then answered follow-up questions, including whether they noticed any patterns between the cars. In both experiments, researchers found powerful evidence for the primacy effect. In experiment one, almost 80% of participants chose the car that showed the positive traits first, even though the other car had the exact same features. This shows that early information creates a strong first impression that can override logical decision making. Then, in experiment two, researchers threw a curveball. The car with the positive traits listed first actually had fewer total positive traits than the other cars, but people still picked this car most often. This tells us that how information is presented might be more influential than how much information is there. Another surprising result was that not a single participant realized that the two cars had the exact same traits. This really highlights how much our minds rely on first impressions, even when we think we're being logical. This supports key concepts from social psychology, such as implicit processing, where people form impressions as they receive information rather than evaluating it all the way to the end. Now, what were some limitations of this study? First, the first limitation of this study is the questionable real-world application. Because this situation was referring to a car buying scenario, there is some speculation about whether these judgments can be applied to other situations. Also, most participants in the study were college students, meaning that the findings are less generalizable. Because the majority of the participants came from one demographic, it's less safe to make assumptions that they will apply to other demographics as well. Finally, working memory limits could cause decision-making issues if participants were presented with more information than they were able to process. Finally, why does this experiment matter to us? Well, the primacy effect has real effects on us in our everyday lives. It reminds us that first impressions do matter, not just with people, but with all sorts of information. For example, this can impact how we review job candidates, shop online, or even vote. Personally, as someone interested in marketing, it plays a big role in my career. As my job is to sell a product to someone, I need to be able to present information in a way that is more influential and makes them want to buy my product. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you see how small changes can have big impacts on the way we process information. This study reminds us to slow down and try and evaluate all the facts, not just the ones we hear first. And here are my references. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.